Welcome to VintageWeightsPGH, and I am hot. It is summertime in the garage, but the projects continue. I'm about to go to the swimming pool, but before I do, I want to show all of you this peculiar 1980s York split sleeve barbell. I recently posted a reel to my YouTube and to my Instagram talking about how to tell the difference in dating a York barbell, and I don't mean falling in love. I mean how to tell how old one is. How do you know how old a York split sleeve barbell is? Well, this shorter collar started in the late 70s. They started putting the lettering on York PA and York barbell in 1978. And then with the exception of the 1980s, York would stamp the inside of the barbell once you take the sleeve off with the month and date. So this one is from March 1993. There have been late 70s with the stamp, but for whatever reason, in the 1980s, they didn't stamp them. So if you find a bar that doesn't have a date stamp, it looks like this, it's from the 1980s. If it's thicker, it's from prior to the 1970s and 1960s, and it gets more complicated when you get earlier than that. But then this kind of breaks all the rules, and this barbell, contradicts most of what I said in that reel. So check this out. Let me turn the camera around from my sweaty face and show you the barbell. I'm in the middle of renovating the garage and making a nice workstation for myself, so I'm still working on some cardboard. You can see some oil and things. That's because for this project, what I did was use PB Blaster, and I only used that in a well-ventilated area. I had the garage door open and a fan blowing. I used that to loosen up the different fastening parts of the sleeves to take apart this barbell. I'll show you that in a second. I used my 3-in-1 oil, but of course, and that's to finish up the bar because I wanted to keep the patina. The whole time I had gloves and eye protection on, and then I used my trusty old Amazon cheapy brush for the sleeves, but my wonderful barbell rescue brush was the workhorse, of course, for any type of barbell work. Now let's get to it. So what made this peculiar? Well, when I first got this barbell, I thought to myself, okay, it's a 1980s bar most likely. It's got York lettering on the inner collar, and it's the shorter, narrower inner collar. So most likely no date on the inside. But then the peculiarities began, which started with the end of it here. Because when I went to punch out the roll pin, I discovered that there wasn't a roll pin. There was a set screw. So the set screw can be removed. By the way, this is a magnetic plate. I love these things. Really useful for not losing little parts like this. So the set screw that goes in was easily removed with a little Allen wrench or hex wrench. But then, of course, the end cap was stuck because it doesn't come straight off, it twists off. And even though it twists off, to get it unstuck, I used the PB Blaster and let it soak in. So let me show you on the other end what that looks like. So once I removed the set screw, and then the PB Blaster worked its way in, I put it through the top, and I kind of let some soak in through the hole of the set screw. Then I was able to remove the end cap or end ring, if you will. You'll see that it's threaded. So along with that set screw, instead of a roll pin, for a short period of time in the late 70s, and as proof of this barbell in the early 80s, York, instead of a roll pin, tried out this design. They would thread the end cap on and then use a set screw. Now there's still a hole here, and that actually does not line up with the end cap, if you can see. So it looks as if maybe they already had bars, drilled out for roll pins, and then they put it on. But to be honest, that's pretty down low for a roll pin. So I'm not really sure what's up with the hole that is in there. If someone knows, drop a comment and let me know. Now, as far as the dating of things, the other peculiar thing, let me lift this up, is that if you look here, you wipe all the grease off, and you hope to find a date. And there it is, 1 1980, as in January 1980. I had said in my reel that, okay, they stopped putting dates on in the 1980s. Well, this proves me wrong. January 1980, they were still putting dates on the inner collars. So the inner collar of this is dated January 1980. That's when it was manufactured. Next time you are whaling away on what you think is a roll pin, if it's a narrow collar, make sure it's not a set screw. And the next time you're trying so hard to get this end cap off, make sure that it's not threaded. And if it is threaded, or I guess even if it's an end cap that's just stuck, you can try out some PB Blaster to try to loosen it. This is Rob at Vintage Weights PGH. Get out there and find those old weights and bars and use them. Bring them back to life, because old weights, new gains.